Ons begin egter met die onmin in Tshwane tussen ActionSA en die deel. Om te verduidelik of ActionSA ook in die metro nou saam met die ANC gaan stem, sluit die partyvoorsitter Michael Beaumont by my aan. Michael, so ActionSA recently praised the coalition, of which you are part, the DA is a part. It's a month later. What's changed?
Well, I think this problem has been building up for some time. And I think while it's most certainly true that we were rejecting the motion of no confidence a few months ago, the pressures in ActionSA have been mounting for a number of months. And we've been attempting to deal with those pressures internally, but they certainly are spilling over. And what those pressures really arise from is a concern about service delivery that is going backwards in a number of communities. And we have structures of ActionSA in those communities who have been representing those concerns to us increasingly. But also it's about a long-term problem, Lorenzo, that I think has been on display for you and everyone to see, is that the deterioration between ActionSA and the DA has been a long time coming. And effectively, that relationship has seen a very deliberate program by the DA to frustrate ActionSA's agenda as a political party. And while that is one thing, ActionSA represents a constituency. So when you frustrate our organisation, you frustrate the people we represent.
Okay, Michael,
long term, this has become a challenge.
You referred to service delivery, and I know you've expressed concerns about a lack, as you say, of service delivery in the townships of Tshwane. But you've been in council as a party since 2021, so are you not liable as well for the lack of services?
There's no question, and ActionSA is not taking the approach of pointing at those people and saying it's your fault and we're not involved. We understand that we form part of a government, that we are complicit in the good and the bad. That's the nature of what it means to be part of a government. We don't refute that for one moment. But at the same time, ActionSA is not the mayor, and the mayor plays a key role in leading the municipality. And ActionSA doesn't have the portfolio of utility services, which, when you understand the problems that are going on in Tshwane, when utility services involves water, electricity and sewerage, that's where so much of the challenge is lying alongside refuse collection. And these are the pressure points in the city of Tshwane. We don't dispute in any way our involvement in that government, but we must account to our constituents for the government of which we are a part, and our constituents are not happy.
Do you think that a coalition which would possibly then be led by the ANC, if you decided to go that way with the ANC and the FF, would work? I mean, let's just take a listen at what the party leader Herman Mashaba said to me in February of last year.
We are ready as ActionSA to embrace a coalition as long as at national government level it does not involve the ANC and the EFF. We committed to that because the EFF, why we can't work with them, because our policy position it's like water and oil, so there's just no way. ANC is a criminal enterprise, so therefore it is completely out.
I mean, it's quite clear the party leader's stance or his attitude towards the ANC and the FF. This was last year. And don't you think that voters in Tshwane specifically voted for you, rejected the ANC and the FF, and now you're saying you're going to vote with them?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that need to be clarified. Those remarks are made about national politics. We're talking about municipal politics here. In national politics, ideological differences play a massive role. In local government, I think the scope to work with more political parties is more there because it's less ideological and it's more about service delivery. I also think we must recognise that ActionSA remains the political party that has been most true to that commitment. Parties like the DA, the Freedom Front Plus, the Patriotic Alliance are fully involved in co-governance in the executive with the ANC at a national government level. And ActionSA has found itself post-29 May having to contemplate how it perceives of itself in this complex world in which we've arisen. If we say we can't work with the ANC, that is one thing. We're finding working with the Democratic Alliance impossible. And by the way, before that becomes an ActionSA stigma, you've had guests here from the Freedom Front and the Patriotic Alliance telling you the exact same thing. So perhaps it's not a problem with every one of these parties, but more with the Democratic Alliance. And the problem comes in as a new emerging political party. If you can't work with either of those two parties, who are you going to work with? And that becomes the dilemma where perhaps as a political party, we are having to go through a bit of a maturation to understand that making pronouncement at a national level saying we won't do this, we won't do that, is maybe not the right approach. And the right approach is dealing with every municipality on its merits because they're all different, their needs are different, and those councils are different.
Michael, I understand that as a party, you're still trying to find your feet in this post-general election world that we are in. There are coalitions on national government, and the local level looks different. But Are you telling our viewers tonight that the residents of Tshwane would be better served with a coalition of which you are part, led possibly by the ANC and the EFF?
So firstly, you keep mentioning the EFF. We're not talking about the EFF.
But you would need them.
Well, not necessarily. As a matter of fact, there are a number of pathways to a majority, and not all of them involve the EFF. And I think we need to be clear, we are undergoing an internal review as ActionSA as it relates to this entire question. As a matter of fact, what I'm trying to avoid doing is speculating about the outcome of that review, because I think there's a lot of people engaging around all of these complexities and concerns, some of which are concerned about working with the EFF when they've got a track record of having extractive politics, where they come to council meetings and say, we won't support this budget unless you do this in that municipality. And that's the kind of politics we want to avoid. We're going through this review process without a premeditated outcome, either in terms of our current coalition or any future coalition of which we may be a part. And we're engaging the residents of Tshwane, we're engaging in the issues on the ground to ensure that we are responding to those in the best possible way without an outcome in our mind.
Okay, let's make it easy then. And I'm just going on what Herman Mashaba said in the past. Are you saying then that residents would be better served with a coalition then led or part, the ANC being part of that coalition? I mean, Mashaba has referred to the ANC as a criminal enterprise.
Yes, there's no question. And I think the ANC's track record speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, we are potentially talking about a coalition in the city of Tshwane that may be led by ActionSA. And that could become something...
Will Herman Mashaba be the mayor? Is that what he wants?
I don't believe so personally. But again, what I keep trying to say is that we are part of a review process right now. For me to be able to say this is the outcome of the review process and this is going to be the mayor really would be undermining an important process that we're going through. And we're going through in partnership with people in that municipality for a very good reason.
So last week, Silje Brink mentioned that he has tried to reach out to you, set up meetings. Are you saying then that as a mayor, he's failing the residents of Tshwane?
Well, I think we must understand that this government, and I don't want to personalise the issue. I don't think personalising the issue helps at all. This government, of which we found ourselves a part 3 years into this coalition, is failing in a number of key regards. And let's talk about the issues, because you have an audit report that's just come out that puts the city of Tshwane in the same audit category as Mangaung and Buffalo City. That's not something that we can celebrate as a political party. That's a standard that should be below all of our standards. We have a municipality where the people of Mamelodi receive water on less days of the month than they get water as a regular supply. The people of Soshanguve are getting power outages on a daily basis. I have stood on the rubbish piles in Attridgeville because of irregular refuse collections. There are fundamental service delivery issues that are impacting this municipality, and ActionSA has to take those seriously. I think one of the greatest frustrations we've experienced with some of those who want to criticize our position is they seem to believe that ActionSA exists only as the footstool on which Cilliers Brink should stand to go and govern unconditionally by himself. ActionSA is a political party. We have nearly 10% of the vote in Tshwane. We have our own independent decision-making, and we have a constituency we must account for. And not one of those DA constituencies would tolerate the things that I've been witnessing in Tshwane over the last week.
Michael, do you think that by attacking the DA that those voters would move to ActionSA?
I don't seem to think that this is about attacking the DA. Once again, I mentioned to you, this isn't about personalising it. This is about service delivery. And if service delivery is a problem...
Mike, I mean, you say it's not about attacking the DA, but that is what Herman Mashaba is doing on social media.
Well, again, it's an interesting approach. If you're going to kind of say cause and effect and you're going to call out the effect. Because for 3 years, ActionSA has been in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Alliance, where the Democratic Alliance's responsibility seemingly has been to frustrate the ActionSA agenda. Herman has had family members of his who live in Hammanskraal die of cholera in the year 2023, Lorenza, where people shouldn't be dying of cholera, because the Hammanskraal water crisis deepened under this government, not got better, because of the appointment of Edwin Sodi in that 296 million rand tender. There are serious concerns that we have, and if that spills over at times as a degree of emotions and passion, it's because we are deeply concerned about what is going on there and that we're accountable to the people of that municipality as well.
Michael, thank you so much.